Okay, so here's a little video on the signal flow of a mic signal through the desk. So if we have a microphone coming in on our channel 1, we can adjust our mic pre to get our signal the way we want. Now this is going to route straight to the short fader. So we can switch the short fader into the mix bus, bring up the fader, and then check on our master meter, and we can see that we are getting level, so the signal is going through. Then we can have a listen to it by adjusting our monitors. And then you can assess the signal, and now we can route it out to the multi-track. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to our buses for our group outputs. We will make sure that the LF button is up. If we want to use 9 to 16, we'll press that button, but we're going to just route it to 1. So I route it to group 1. Bring up my fader. Now we can see our input, we're taking in 1. I can go over to my DAW. I can see it's taking in signal on analog 1, taking in signal. So now we can listen to the output of our multi-track by switching this signal out, and we are sending out that same channel, going to our output 1. So, and we can see on our meter here, we're taking in signal. I'll just press mix on channel 1's long fader, the DAW return channel. And so now we're listening to the output of the multi-track. I can show you by just muting. And so that's how you route a signal into the DAW and back out on the long fader. Okay, this is a short video on subgrouping drums during a mix. So we are using the DAW returns, the outputs of the computer going into the DAW return channels, which is the long fader. So I will just activate the channels by switching them into the mix. And we'll bring them up so we have overheads, kick drum, snare, and I think we have a conga. So if I want to subgroup these, I will route them to my subgroups. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to my busing, and I'm going to press the 1 and 2 bus on all of them. And because we're using this in a mix context, I'm going to switch it to long fader. And now, if I switch these out of the mix and switch in my subgroups, you have the whole drum kit routed to groups 1 and 2. So we've routed the long fader to the bus 1 and 2, and bus 1 and 2 obviously brings it to the group outputs 1 and 2, but it also duplicates it down onto subgroups 1 and 2. Now one problem that might arise is if we want to pan something in between groups bus 1 and 2. So this conga, for example, I'll just mute all the other channels. Because I've just sent this to 1 and 2, it's just going to go to 1 and 2 in equal amounts. If I want to pan between 1 and 2, I press the pan switch, and now I can pan between bus 1 and bus 2. On the overheads, left and right, I can either switch in the pan control, and then because it's panned hard left, it will go to just bus 1, or I could just route it just to bus 1 and the right overhead just to bus 2. Or use the pan control. You'll get the same result, but with the pan control in, we can vary the amount. So currently I have some drums, and they are playing back through the DAW channels. So they're on the long faders. So if you look at the DAW channels, we have an insert in button. And so what we'll need to do is patch. So I'm going to put a kick compressor on the kick drum. So I'm going to go to my DAW channel insert send and send that. And we will send it into 560. Back out into the insert return. We can check that this is actually taking in signal. Okay, so we can see signal on the compressor. Now let's just have a listen to the kick drum. And now if I press activate the insert, we have compression. You can check that by adjusting the... And so you can switch in and out compression with the insert switch. If you are inserting into one of the mic line channels, the insert switch is here, and on the patch bay you will find them on the line channel insert sends. So that's mic line channels, insert sends 160. So currently I have some drums, and they are currently in the mix, but also submixed through the buses to groups 1 and 2. Switch them in, turn up the volume. So now to apply compression, I am going to go to the patch bay, and we will go to the group insert sends 1. We'll patch that into a stereo compressor, so the SSL bus compressor, and back out and into the insert return, and the same on the right channel into the input of the SSL's right channel, and then back out and into the insert return. Now, we don't have an insert in switch on these buses, so it's just activated once it's in. I can switch in and out. You can just bring it in. So it's super aggressive, just so you can hear it on the phone. We are now compressing the drums as a drum bus. If I want to do parallel compression, it's quite easy. So currently we have compressed drums, and I'll really crunch them up. If we want to use it as a parallel compression, all we have to do is switch drums back into the mix bus. And now I can just blend this super compressed drum compression in with the drums, getting a parallel compression. Another handy trick we can do is we can use the short faders. So if I go to my short faders, you see they're normally taking in signal from the mic line to the short fader. If we were to flip the channels, they would take the DAW input, and the long fader would take the mic input. But we can also leave them in their current format, where the DAW channel, or the DAW input is going to the long fader, and then we can take the long fader and send it to the short fader. And I'll just do this now. And now we can go up to my busing, and I'll say I don't want to bus the signal from the long fader, I want to take it from the short fader. And we can have a listen by switching these guys out of the mix, turning up my bus, and these guys are now going to my submix. So I can do a totally different mix. Into that bus compressor. Switch back my normal drums. And now blend a different mix of the drums into the mix. So this kick, snare and conga heavy mix is being crushed by compression, and then we can parallel that in with my subgroups with the normal uncompressed drums.